The bolt slid free as Eleanor Whitcombe eased open the boarding house door, the pre-dawn air biting against her cheeks. Her fingers trembled as she clutched the bundle of bread and cheese hidden beneath her shawl, eyes finding the young man already there, sitting against the iron fence, his body rocking in a rhythm only he could hear. 3 weeks now. 3 weeks of slipping out before Mrs. Hartley's wake, before the neighbors could whisper about a governess meeting a man unchaperoned. 3 weeks of terror knotting in Eleanor's chest each time a curtain twitched, each time footsteps echoed down the cobblestones. But 3 weeks of watching him see the world differently. Not broken. Different. The way he wouldn't meet her eyes wasn't rudeness, it was overwhelm. The rocking wasn't madness, it was comfort in a world that demanded stillness. The silence wasn't emptiness, it was a mind processing everything at once, unable to filter the chaos into words. Eleanor had taught children like him before. Brilliant minds trapped behind behaviors society called unnatural. She knelt slowly, setting the food within reach, never touching, never demanding. "Good morning," she whispered, though he never answered. "I'm here." His hand reached out, not for the food, for her presence. The church bells struck 5. Eleanor had 30 minutes before discovery meant losing everything. How many times have you walked past someone who needed help because it wasn't convenient? Because it might cost you something? Eleanor risked everything for a stranger no one else saw as human. If this story doesn't make you question what you're willing to sacrifice for compassion, you're not paying attention. Hit that like button if you're brave enough to hear what happens next. Subscribe if you believe kindness should cost us something. Because this story? It's about to show you the real price of looking away. Eleanor's fingers had just brushed the bread wrapped in her shawl when iron grip seized her arm. "Stop." The voice cut through Dawn's silence like a blade. She spun to find a man towering over her, his greatcoat billowing, his face carved from fury and something darker. A duke, unmistakably, from the authority radiating from his very stance. "How dare you?" he hissed, his dark eyes blazing. "Exploiting my brother, hiding him from his family. What have you done to him?" "I've done nothing but feed him." Eleanor wrenched her arm free, heart hammering. "He sits here starving while everyone walks past. Edmund has been missing for 3 weeks. The Duke's voice cracked. 3 weeks of searching every corner of London, and you've kept him here like some... "I didn't keep him anywhere." Her fear crystallized into anger. "Your brother? The Duke of Ravenscroft's brother sits outside a boarding house for weeks and no one finds him?" Alistair's jaw clenched. He strode toward Edmund, reaching for him. "Come, brother. Let's go home." Edmund recoiled violently, a keening sound tearing from his throat. His body rocked frantically, hands clawing at his own arms. "Stop!" Eleanor pushed between them. "You're frightening him." She knelt slowly, keeping her movements gentle. "Edmund," she said softly, "it's all right. No one will hurt you." The change was immediate. Edmund's rocking slowed, his breathing steadied. Alistair stared, something like awe breaking through his fury. "How did you—" "Patience," Eleanor said quietly. "Not force." She helped Edmund to his feet, guided him toward the waiting ducal carriage. Edmund's fingers trembled in hers, but he followed, docile under her calm voice. As the carriage door closed, Alistair's eyes met Eleanor's. Confusion warred with reluctant gratitude. "Who are you?" "Someone who didn't walk past," Eleanor whispered. The carriage rolled away, leaving her standing alone in the empty street, her hands still shaking, her world irrevocably shifted. 2 days of silence. Then the Duke of Ravenscroft appeared in Mrs. Ashford's drawing room like a storm given human form. "Miss Whitcombe." His voice was carefully controlled, but Eleanor heard the fracture beneath. "I need you." Mrs. Ashford's teacup clattered against its saucer. "Your Grace, this is highly irregular. My brother is dying." The words cracked through his composure. "He won't eat, won't sleep. The physicians want to restrain him, send him to Bethlehem. They say he's become violent, dangerous." Eleanor's stomach dropped. "He's terrified, not violent." "Then help him." Alistair's eyes bore into hers. "One visit, just to see if he'll eat for you." "Your Grace," Mrs. Ashford sputtered, "a young unmarried woman cannot possibly. I'll pay triple her annual salary." Alistair never looked away from Eleanor. "Please." The words stripped him bare. At Ravenscroft Manor, servants led Eleanor to a locked door. Behind it, sounds of distress, keening rhythmic thuds. "He's harming himself," a physician said coldly. "Restraints are the only—" "No." Eleanor took the key. "Leave us." She entered slowly. Edmund huddled in the corner, rocking violently, his knuckles bloody from striking the wall, wild-eyed, trapped. Eleanor sat on the floor 10 feet away, didn't approach, didn't speak at first, just breathed calmly, visibly. "Edmund," she finally said, soft as prayer. "You're safe. No one will hurt you." The rocking slowed. His breathing steadied. She unwrapped the bread, set it between them, waited. His hand reached out, trembling. He ate. Behind her, Alistair stood frozen in the doorway, watching his brother respond to something he'd never understood. Gentleness. Ravenscroft Manor rose before Eleanor like a cathedral, all golden stone and impossible windows. Her single trunk looked absurd in the marble foyer. "Your room is in the east wing, miss." The housekeeper's voice dropped to a whisper. "But a word of caution. Don't let her Grace know Master Edmund's eating. She'll put a stop to it." Eleanor's blood chilled. "His mother?" The woman's expression shuddered. "Just be careful." Days fell into patterns. Edmund needed patterns. Eleanor learned them like a language. He tolerated her presence 3 feet away, never closer without warning. Loud noises sent him spiraling. She kept her voice soft, her movements slow. Routine calmed him. Breakfast at 8, reading at 10, garden at 2. But certain rooms made him freeze, especially the locked door at the corridor's end. "What's in there?" Eleanor asked a maid. The girl's face went white. "Best not to ask, miss." Alistair began appearing during their sessions, watching from doorways. Eleanor never forced Edmund to perform, never demanded eye contact or speech. She simply talked to him, about books, weather, the garden, as though his silence was merely a different kind of conversation. "I don't understand him," Alistair admitted one afternoon, his voice raw. "I never have." "You're trying to fix him." Eleanor met his eyes. "Try seeing him instead." Edmund's hand reached for a book, not broken, just different. Eleanor remembered the deaf girl she'd taught in Yorkshire, how images had unlocked a world words couldn't reach. She brought picture cards to Edmund's room, simple drawings, food, rest, outside, music. His eyes, usually distant, suddenly focused, sharp, aware. He pointed. "Food. Outside." "Yes." Eleanor's voice broke. "Yes, Edmund. Do you want to go outside?" He pointed again, emphatically. She added writing materials the next day. Edmund's hand trembled as he gripped the pencil, his movements unpracticed but deliberate. One word appeared, shakily formed. "Thank." Eleanor's tears fell onto the paper. Over days, the cards multiplied. The writing grew steadier. Edmund didn't just communicate, he expressed. Poetry in fragments, observations about light through windows, questions about why birds sang. Alistair found Eleanor reading Edmund's latest writing one evening. "May I?" She handed him the journal, watched his face drain of color as he read. Brother's eyes look through me. Mother says I am punishment for sin. Am I real if no one sees me? God. Alistair's hands shook. He's been aware, this entire time, watching us treat him like he was broken. Eleanor's voice was gentle but firm. He was never broken, just unheard. Alistair looked at her then, really looked, at the woman who'd given his brother a voice. Something shifted in his chest, dangerous and irrevocable. Teach me, he whispered. Please. Their hands touched over Edmund's cards. Both pulled back quickly, remembering the impossible distance between a duke and a governess, but the wanting remained. Eleanor found it while changing Edmund's bedding, a leather journal wedged between mattress and frame, hidden like contraband. The first page stopped her breath. Drawings of a boy in darkness, stick figures with ropes binding wrists to chair arms, scratched words. Day 4 in treatment room. Mother says I must learn. Food comes when I am good. I try to be good. Her hands shook, turning pages, years of entries. Tied again today, forgot and rocked. She says rocking is devil's work, must stay still, must be normal. A sketch of a woman's face, beautiful and cold, labeled Mother's Disgust. The final entry shattered her. Brother doesn't save me. Nobody saves me. Maybe I am monster. Eleanor found Alistair in his study, through the journal on his desk. Read it. His face drained of color with each page. I didn't. Mother said the treatments were medicinal, necessary for his own good. How could you not question? Eleanor's fury erupted. Not investigate? Your brother was being tortured and you believed it was medicine? I wanted to believe her. Alistair's voice cracked. God help me, I wanted to believe because questioning meant facing what I'd allowed, what I'd been too cowardly to stop. His defenses crumbled. I failed him. I've failed him his entire life. Eleanor's anger shifted to something harder. Determination. Then stop failing him now. This ends today. The Dowager Duchess arrived like winter itself, all ice-blonde elegance and cutting authority. So, her eyes raked over Eleanor with open contempt. The governess playing nurse? Eleanor curtsied, keeping her voice steady. Your Grace. The Dowager swept into Edmund's room. He was arranging picture cards, outside, book, music, his face calm, focused. Dear God. The Dowager's disgust was palpable. This is why his condition worsens. You indulge his abnormality. She snatched the cards away. Edmund's keening started immediately. Your Grace. Eleanor stepped forward. You forget your place, Miss Whitcombe. The Dowager's smile was blade sharp. Alistair, these toys will be removed. Edmund will resume proper treatment immediately. He must be cured before society learns what we've been hiding. Mother. Alistair's voice wavered. You've coddled him long enough. The Dowager's command was absolute. The treatments begin tonight. Eleanor saw it then, the way Alistair's spine bent under his mother's will, years of obedience warring with days of awakening. He said nothing. That night, Edmund's screams tore through the manor. Eleanor ran, nightgown flying. The locked room, the one servants feared. Open it, she demanded of the footman standing guard. Her Grace's orders, miss. No one enters. Inside, Edmund's screams became something animal, terrified. The cure had begun, in complete darkness, alone. Open this door, or I'll break it down myself. The footman's hands shook as he turned the key. Darkness, complete and suffocating. Eleanor stumbled forward, following the sounds. Violent rocking, desperate keening, the wet sound of flesh against stone. Edmund! She found him by touch. Huddled in the corner, his hands slick with blood where he'd clawed at the walls, at himself, trying to escape his own skin. For the first time since she'd known him, Eleanor pulled him close. He didn't resist. Terror had broken through every boundary. He trembled against her like something dying. "I'm here. I'm here. You're not alone. Miss Whitcombe." Her Grace explicitly. The footman stood in the doorway, lamp raised. "Then let her Grace come herself." She did. The dowager swept in, fury incarnate, but Eleanor didn't move. Servants began gathering, watching. 20 years I served Master Edmund," the old nursemaid whispered. 20 years of watching her tie him to chairs, lock him in darkness for days, call him demon-possessed. "She made me restrain him," the valet added, voice breaking. His own brother watched and did nothing. "Food withheld as punishment," the cook said. A growing boy, starved to force obedience. The conspiracy of silence shattered. Alistair stood frozen, each testimony a knife. The dowager's control slipped. Her hand cracked across Eleanor's face. "Edmund goes to Bethlehem Asylum this week, out of sight, where he can no longer embarrass this family." Eleanor touched her bleeding lip. "No." Alistair stood frozen between his mother and his brother. Between everything he'd been raised to be and everything he'd learned was right. Eleanor held Edmund against her, his blood on her dress, her voice quiet but cutting through the chaos like steel. "If you send him away, you're choosing cruelty over love, reputation over humanity." She met Alistair's eyes. "You'll become exactly what she is." The dowager's laugh was vicious. "Alistair, you cannot seriously be considering—" Edmund moved. With trembling hands, he reached for the picture cards scattered on the floor. His movements were jerky, unpracticed, desperate. One by one, he arranged them in the lamplight. "Brother, help, please." The first time he'd ever communicated directly with Alistair, the first time he'd asked his brother for anything. Something broke in Alistair's chest. "Get out." "I beg your pardon?" The dowager's voice was ice. "Leave this estate. Tonight." Alistair's voice strengthened with each word. "You are banished from Edmund's life. I am his legal guardian now, regardless of what society thinks." "You fool!" The dowager's fury was volcanic. "I will destroy you. The scandal, the whispers, you'll be ruined. Completely and utterly ruined. Then we'll face it together." Alistair looked at Eleanor, at Edmund. "All of us." The dowager swept from the room, her exit punctuated by a door slam that shook the walls. In the silence that followed, Edmund's hand found his brother's. For the first time in 20 years, Alistair held it back. The dowager left that night and never returned. Society whispered, of course, scandalous rumors about the Duke who chose his mad brother over his own mother. But other voices rose too. A renowned physician from Edinburgh, Dr. Morrison, who specialized in nervous disorders, publicly praised Alistair's compassionate approach. Several progressive families quietly expressed support. Eleanor expected to be offered a permanent position as Edmund's companion. What she didn't expect was Alistair finding her in the library 3 weeks later, his hands trembling as he held a small velvet box. "Not as a companion," he said quietly. "As my wife. If you'll have me." Eleanor's breath caught. "Edmund needs you. I need you." His voice broke. "Not as an employee, but as a partner in building a life where he's valued, not cured. Where difference isn't disease. Where—" She kissed him before he could finish. The wedding was small. Just family. The family they'd chosen. Edmund stood beside his brother, using his cards throughout the ceremony. When asked if he approved, he arranged them carefully. Brother, sister, home, happy. There wasn't a dry eye in the chapel. 2 years later, Eleanor stood at the window watching Edmund in the garden he'd created. a riot of colors and textures that somehow made perfect sense. He moved among the plants with quiet purpose, occasionally speaking in short phrases. Water here. Roses bloom soon. Children's laughter drifted from the converted East Wing, Eleanor's school for unusual children, as she called them. Children who rocked, who didn't speak, who saw the world differently. Children who, for the first time, were told they weren't broken. Edmund was teaching one of them about soil composition, using his cards to supplement the words he couldn't quite form. Alistair joined Eleanor at the window, his hand settling on her swollen belly. He's remarkable. He always was, Eleanor murmured. We just had to listen. Edmund looked up, then, as though sensing them watching. He walked over, pressed a card into Eleanor's hand. Thank you. Saved me. Eleanor's eyes filled. She took a pencil from her pocket and wrote on the back, You saved me too. Edmund's smile, rare, precious, genuine, broke across his face like sunrise. Behind them, a child laughed. In the garden, roses were beginning to bloom. And in this house that had once been a prison, love had done what force and shame never could. It had made everyone whole.